Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, this time featuring Dinosaurs. So on one of my videos last week on Elves, which was the first standard video in Foundations, I said something like, Alanawa Elves is the first time we've got a one mana dork in a long time in standard. And one of my subscribers did point out in a comment that actually we have had a one mana dork in Lost Caverns of Ixalli, being Ixalli's Lorekeeper, but it only works on dinosaur spells or abilities of a dinosaur source. So I thought, can we build a dinosaur deck? Yes, we can. There's not many new or returning cards in Foundations. The only one we've got in the deck is original Ghalta Primal Hunger. It's a 12 mana, 12/12 of trample, but it costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures we control. So if we have 5 power in total of creatures, this will cost 7. And obviously if we have 10 power in total, it will cost 12. The other card that I did have in for a bit is OG Ixalli. So we've got the latest Ixalli, 7 mana, 7/7 trample, the tally that everyone knows and loves. When it enters, each player exiles top card from the library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards, exile this way without paying the mana costs, and then you can pay 9 and a Phyrexian green, so it means you can pay green or 2 life to transform it into Ixalli Primal Sickness, an 11/11 trample indestructible, and it says when it deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. So it's basically Infect 11, or Toxic 11, sorry, or Infect without the -1/-1 counters for creatures. And that did actually come up in the game. Usually you don't see Ixalli transformed. So original Ixalli is a 6 mana 6/6 that has a very similar trigger. Well, the trigger's not the similar, but the ability is. So it's when it attacks, you exile the top card of each player's library, then you can cast any number of cards from those exiled this way without paying the mana cost. It is generally worse because obviously it's smaller, but it is cheaper. But the trigger only happens on attack, which does mean you can get it over and over again. But if you're in a position where you can attack with a 6/6 trampler multiple times, you're probably going to win anyway. But I think one of the weaknesses around OG Ixalli is that because it's only the top card of each deck and it is a you may cast, it means if you hit lands you can't play them, and that is a bit of a whiff. Whereas obviously the newer Ixalli is just a lot better because it can't hit lands. So that is the only new card we have in the deck. But what other dinosaurs do we have? So we have one copy of Itquinth, Firstborn of Gishath, a 2 mana 2/3 with haste. When it enters, we may pay 2. When we do, target dinosaur we control deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. So if we have 4 mana when we play it, we can use it as a removal spell. Obviously, either itself doing 2 to something or one of our much bigger dinosaurs. Speaking of which, we have Pugnacious Hammerskull. 3 copies of this, 3 mana 6/6. When Pugnacious Hammerskull attacks, while we don't control another dinosaur, put a stun counter on it, we are pretty much often going to control another dinosaur. So that's usually not an issue. 2 copies of Tranquil Thrillback, a 3 mana 3/3. When it enters, we may pay green up to 3 times. When we do, choose up to that many of either destroy target artifact or enchantment, exile target player's graveyard, or you regain 4 life. 3 copies of Polaris Hatcher, 5 mana 5/3. Other dinosaurs we control have haste, which is pretty powerful. When it enters, create 2 0/1 green dinosaur egg creature tokens. Then at the beginning of combat on our turn, if we control an egg, sacrifice an egg, then create a 3/3 dinosaur. That dinosaur is going to have haste. Then 3 copies of Bonehorde Dracosaur. Played with this on the channel before. Very, very powerful card. 5 mana 5/5 flying first strike, so a big old beefy body. And we begin of our upkeep, exile the top 2 cards of our library. We may play them this turn. Play means we can play lands. If we exile a land card, create a 3/1 red dinosaur creature token. If we exile a non-land card, create a treasure token. So give us extra bodies, extra dinosaurs, and extra ramp as well. Then another MVP, 4 copies of Hulking Raptor, a 4 mana 5/3 with War 2. Means it's quite hard to deal with. At the beginning of our first main phase, we add 2, so a great way to ramp as well. Then our big finishers are, apart from the aforementioned Ixalli and Ghalta, we have other Ghalta, 8 mana 12/12 trample. When it enters, put any number of creature cards from our hand onto the battlefield. A copy of Vaultborn Tyrant. I did have more of these in, but I wanted to put more copies of Bonehorde Dracosaur in. But Vaultborn Tyrant, a 7 mana 6/6 with trample. When it or another creature we control power 4 enters greaters, we gain 3 life and draw a card. And then when it dies, if it's not a token, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's an artifact in addition to those other types. So we get that ETB trigger again, which is really, really powerful. And obviously, because a lot of our creatures have a power greater for 4 or greater, they will trigger Vault 1 a lot. And then rounding out the dinosaurs, we have 3 copies of Trumpeting Carnosaur, 6 mana, 7/6 with trample. When it enters, discover 5. Discover 5 means exile cards from the top of your library until we hit a non-land card with mana value 5 or less. We can either play that card without paying its mana cost or put it into our hand. And the real synergy is Carnosaur into Pilanis Hatcher, because that will give the Carnosaur trample and we can smash in with that, and obviously the dinosaur token that the Hatcher creates. We can also pay 2 in a red to discard it, and it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, so a bit of removal. And then rounding out the deck is Ramp, pretty much. 4 copies of the aforementioned Ixalli's Lorekeeper, add 1 mana of any colour, only use for dinosaur spells and abilities. 4 copies of Llanowar Elves, another one of the cards that just kind of makes this deck work. You know, it's new in Foundations. Well, it's a reprint in Foundations, and the reality is, if you're playing green in Foundations from now on, you're probably playing Llanowar Elves. Ignore that mythic rare thing. It's not. It's a common. This is just the art is mythic rare. And then 2 copies of Intrepid Paleontologist, a 2 mana 2/2 with tap to add 1 mana of any colour. But then you can pay 2 to exile a card from a graveyard, so great graveyard hate. But also, if we exile a dinosaur creature spell from a graveyard, we can cast it. They do come in. They do enter with financially counter on it. But what's interesting, you don't have to tap the Paleontologist for that ability, so you can tap her for mana to activate that ability as well. So if we discard a Carnosaur, we can potentially get it back with the Paleontologist, or if obviously our board gets swept or they remove our dinosaurs, we can get it back to the Paleontologist. Then we do just have 1 copy of Primal Might, which is in Foundations as well, but it obviously was in the Great Vault, or the Vault with the Outlaws of Thunder Junction one. 1 on the next, target creature we control gets +X/+X in a turn, then it fights up to 1 target creature we don't control, so additional removal. Lands are, as you would expect, a lot of dual lands. We do have 2 Restless Ridge lines, they turn into dinosaurs as well. 4 Thorn-Spine Verges, which they're good if you draw the right thing. Problem is, all our 1-drops and all our low drops are green, and by default this does not produce green, so if you have this in the opening hand and no other, and we don't have like a forest, it can be a bit of a dead card at that moment, which is not ideal. But you know, if we have a forest, then it's great. And 2 copies of Cavern of Souls just for the blue decks. Is it powerful? Strangely, yes. So I put a post up on my channel. I was meant to release this video yesterday, but I recorded all the content and found out that my recording software had switched the mic to nothing, so it didn't record my voice. So I didn't have Bonehorde Dracosaur in it then. I think that makes a big difference. This is bizarrely an aggro deck. You can turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Hammerskull, turn 3 Hulking Raptor, whack in with the Hammerskull because you've got another dinosaur, it doesn't get stunned, and then turn 4 Ixalli, basically, because you'll get 2 mana from Raptor, 1 mana from Hulking, from Llanowar Elf, sorry, and then 4 lands. That is quite hard to beat. And even on turns where you're like, oh, turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Lorekeeper, turn 3 Dracosaur or Pilanis Hatcher, is pretty fantastic. So a lot of the videos, a lot of the games in the video are quite short, like a minute and a half long, just because it's just get out mana dock, smashing with dinosaurs and your opponents concede. So it is pretty powerful. Really enjoyable as well. Smashing them with big things is always great fun. So I had a great time playing it. I hope you all enjoy watching it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We go first. An okay hand. Obviously, like some of our bigger things. Or, for our small things to survive. Oh, let's just hit him for 2. But we are a long, long way from being able to cast a tally. Well, at least we can ridgeline to...
Those who get in my way tend to regret it.
take down Liliana.
I've always hated crowds. Whatever. Luck favors the foolish, after all.
Well, we can take that out. Question is though, do we? Obviously, if they remove the hammer skull, they can hit us with 4. Well, should have done then. I mean, I would really like a land for Ixalli. Well, I'd really like an untapped land for Ixalli. If I had taken out that token, we'd be in a much better position. I can't attack with the Restless Ridgeline either. Yeah. I should have done it. Second Maze Mine Tome. Hopefully Ixalli can help us get parity. What do we hit? Vaultborn Tyrant, yes please. We'll create a 6/6 flyer. Should have done it the other way around. Well, that's annoying, but... Well... They can take out our Hammer Skull. Oh, I can't unlock the Unholy Annex, I don't have black mana, obviously. Let's tick down their Nissa.
This conflict is pointless.
That's annoying. I wanted to use that to recast some dinosaurs. Well, I think we cast the Carnosaur because that does cause us to draw a card with the Tyrant. I would much prefer to have hit the Hatcher. And annoyingly, we've not really drawn many more lands. So I can't transform Ixalli.
Welcome, my companion.
Well, actually, I can, can't I? We got 29, that's his play of life. And it is now indestructible. The attacking of a Tyrant does get as a redraw, basically. Probably should attack with the Carnosaur as well. Well, I'm definitely getting rid of a 7/7. And let's get rid of the 5/5. And obviously we get the Tyrant back. They can't anoint it. They can't go for the throat it. If they've got to go for the throat, they could use it on any of my other creatures, apart from the Raptor, because they haven't got the mana. Oh, well, they have, actually, because of Ancient Cornucopia. So what do they have? They're hovering over things. Maybe they're confused as to why go for the throat can't target something. Very confusing. Even though it's a token, it is a token of a card, so it has the card's mana cost, which is 7, or mana value, which is 7. It is an artifact. What the blazes was that? Let's we go first with, well, ramp, but could do with a painless green source, untapped as well. Oh, another Hatcher, which we can play out next turn. They are a ramping. So we came for 4, and next turn we can play out a second Hatcher and give everything haste. Is this just lethal? Let's have a look. So we have 10 because of our first Hatcher. Our second Hatcher's got haste. Yeah, we're going to get 10 and then another 6 from each of the dinosaurs. So yeah, we had 18. So we did have lethal. We go first. We do need another land. But actually, in theory, we don't. Oh, that's the paleontologist and the Lorekeeper. So next turn, we can Hatcher. Maybe? Well, we can Hulking Raptor. Or we can actually now Hatcher. Hit him for 3. And yeah, opponent scoops it up. And yeah, next turn we can Hulking Raptor or just Ghalta, actually. And then smash him for 12 with a hasty Ghalta. And actually, yeah, if we drew an untapped land, we could do both. I think we need to be an untapped green source, but we could do both. We go first. Turn 2 Hammer Skull into turn 3 Hulking Raptor is always good fun. The pain lands aren't great, but you know, they do a job. Opponent on mono. Oh, they're on, well, Boros tokens by the looks of it. And next turn, we should be able to Ixalli. Yeah. Oh, don't. I thought they were hovering over Alanwa elves. And I thought they were, you know, thinking about it. And yes. Ixalli has that effect on people, especially on turn 4. We go first. Turn 1, Llanowar Elves. Turn 2, Hammer Skull. The moment, turn 3 off. I actually wouldn't mind another Mana Dork. That way we can play out the Ridge Line and the Mana Dork, and then turn 3 Dracosaur. They seem to be on a toxic deck. Or maybe Death Touch. Yeah, we're not blocking that. Well, there is the Mana Dork. A turn too late, unfortunately. We get him for 6. There is a stun counter. So it is full on poison. Well, we can get in for 4. And then next turn we can get down the Dracosaur and probably swing in for quite a lot. Well, maybe not. Yeah, they're holding back. Obviously, Death Touch means 3/3 dies, but kind of clearing the way a bit. Okay. We'll give our egg a bump. I imagine they... Okay. They are at 2. And we're at 5 poison. And yeah. They scoop. That is an unkeepable hand. This isn't much better, but I suppose it will do. We've got to put back Ghalta. I don't like the recruit. So I'm going to get rid of it before it can put counters on other things. I think because next turn we can play the Carnosaur, I'm not going to take out the Mentor. Hopefully our Carnosaur and whatever it discovers into can help take over the game. Do they have a Primal Might? No, they don't, just a talent. Oh, Hunter's talent, not a Innkeeper's talent. Well, that's more annoying. Luckily, we hit a Hatcher. Would have preferred a land for the Carnosaur then. Although with Hatcher it is all, it's sometimes better to play out the Hatcher and then play out your big thing afterwards. Bonehorde Dracosaur would be a good draw as well. Well, let's just play out the Raptor then. And I will hold back because next turn with the Raptor we can play the Carnosaur. This deck has 25 lands. Leaving on top's never fun. They might have something. For 1 mana though, they don't. Well, there's the land we were looking for. Though we didn't necessarily need it now. That's not a bad hit, seeing as they all have haste. And yeah, we're hitting in for what, 8, 13, 20, 26? They can stop some of that, but not enough.